Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be giving you my view on what generative artificial intelligence means for music, particularly media music, in the future. Now, I can already hear some of you going and various other things, because I know that this is a big trigger phrase for lots of people, and there's been a lot of doom and gloom. And whilst not being remotely complacent, I want to put this in a bit of perspective and potentially look at this in a little bit more optimistic way. I personally have more confidence in the human spirit than some of those out there I've heard speaking about this in the recent past. What we're going to be doing is I will be interviewing what is undoubtedly a world authority on the ability of artificial intelligence. We're going to be trying to write a children's TV theme, and we're going to be hearing what a British king who died 1,000 years ago can tell us about artificial intelligence. So first of all, what does this mean for you personally? Well, look, if you're one of the millions of people who write music for fun, nothing. It doesn't mean anything. There is no AI police going to come round and kick your door down and go, stop doing that manually, use the AI. It's not going to happen. You'll continue to write music, you'll continue to enjoy it. In the UK, there are 32 million people who regularly bake, okay? They could go to the supermarket and buy a loaf of bread and come home. And it would probably be cheaper and it would definitely be quicker. But they choose to bake. They choose to bake their own beautiful wonky loaves because they love it. And that is the same as you. When it comes to making music, you'll be able to produce your own wonky homemade piece of music that is filled with passion and love and your soul. And nobody can take that away from you, okay? Right, now, what about the industry? What about media music? Is there a future for media composers? This is where I thought we'd bring in a world quality artificial intelligence expert, somebody who knows literally 1 billion times more facts than I do. It's ChatGPT Plus, and it exists on my phone, and I decided to ask him, it, them, whatever, some probing questions. Here's what they had to say. ChatGPT, good morning. I'm going to interview you and put you on YouTube. Is that all right?
Good morning. Sure, feel free to put our conversation on YouTube. What would you like to discuss or showcase about generative AI today?
What I want to know is generative AI music going to kill off?
Great, what would you like to know?
Oh, stop it. Will generative AI kill off the composer in the future?
Generative AI is a powerful tool, but it's unlikely to replace composers entirely. While AI can assist in creating music, human composers bring unique creativity, emotional depth, and cultural context that AI cannot replicate. Instead, AI can serve as a collaborator, helping composers explore new ideas and streamline their creative process.
So, exactly what kind of things will film composers be able to do which generative AI can't?
Film composers can infuse their work with personal emotions, nuanced understanding of cultural references, and a deep connection to the narrative that AI cannot fully grasp. They can also collaborate with directors and other creatives, improvising and adapting to the unique needs of each project. Additionally, composers can develop distinctive musical styles and experiment in ways that go beyond current AI capabilities.
So, if you were starting out as a film composer, what skills and techniques would you focus on most?
If I were starting out as a film composer, I'd focus on developing strong storytelling skills, a deep understanding of music theory, and proficiency with various musical instruments. I'd also work on mastering digital audio workstations, DAWs, and learning about sound design. Building strong collaboration and communication skills to work effectively with directors and other team members would be crucial. Lastly, I'd stay updated on the latest trends in both film and music and explore how to integrate AI tools to enhance my creative process without losing my unique voice.
Okay, let me just ask you finally one sort of slightly left field question. I mean, given that currently, and we're spending, $150 billion a year developing artificial intelligence. A lot of that going on large language models like you, which are extremely good at working with the written word. Why is it that that AI is still not capable of writing a novel?
AI can generate text and even short stories, but writing a novel involves more than just stringing words together. Creating a compelling novel requires deep character development, complex plot structures, emotional resonance, and thematic depth, all of which benefit greatly from human experiences, intuition, and creativity. While AI can assist with ideas, suggestions, and even parts of the writing process, it lacks the ability to truly understand and convey the human condition in the nuanced way that a skilled human author can.
So in much the same way that an author writes a novel, a film composer writes a complete film score, those same differences would apply.
Exactly. Just as an author imbues a novel with personal insight, emotional depth, and creative intuition, a film composer brings a unique understanding of the narrative, emotional nuances, and thematic elements to a film score. Both roles require a deep connection to human experiences and the ability to convey complex emotions and ideas that AI, at its current stage, cannot fully replicate. AI can support and enhance the process, but the human touch remains essential in creating truly compelling and impactful art.
Jolly good. Well, thank you very much indeed. Please say goodbye to all the viewers on the Think Space Education YouTube channel.
Thank you all for watching on the Think Space Education YouTube channel. Goodbye and have a great day. He's right. He's right. Yeah, there you go. So from the artificial intelligence horse's mouth, it's very clear what you as media composers or potential media composers, aspiring media composers need to do. You need to double down on originality. You need to be good at communication and collaboration. And you need to really work on emotional insight and nuance, because those are three things which are absolutely at the core of what media composers do and which artificial intelligence can't even come close to right now, which is all good news. Now, right now, there are some huge legal barriers to the commercial application of generative AI, not least the battle over training data. That is the pieces of music which they feed into the model to show the model what music sounds like. And there's some huge court cases going through. That will be resolved. But on a creative, practical level, what can the tools do for us right now? I decided to find out. Okay, so I popped back to the shed to give you a practical example of how this might work and why it doesn't at the moment. There's many generative AI websites out there. Most of them are absolutely terrible. Udio is really good, and it produces completely viable tracks with lyrics. It's give it a go because it's really interesting. But here's the nature of the problem. Okay, so I asked Udio to produce a 30-second song to introduce a TV show for small kids called Billy the Banana. So I'm the producer of this show, and I've got this fun little family show with this family of fruit, and they all pop around, and it's led by this guy called Billy Banana. Okay, so I want a 30-second intro song, and I think, I know what, I'll get Udio to do it, save me all that time. And this is what it came up with. Okay, there's so much wrong with that. I mean, okay, so here's the problem. As a producer, I could sit here and I could just put in one prompt after another and hope that something comes back. But I can't really give it notes. I can't say, can you tweak it? I mean, in any serious way. It's just wrong in every way. It doesn't understand what kids' TV music is. There's no, also, it's the whole thing. Anyway, but here's the real nub of the problem is because it's generated by AI, there is no copyright in that. That means there's no protection as to how it could be used. So suppose
somebody hears this opening theme tune and knows that it's been generated by AI and knows that they can just steal it, and they happen to be producing porn films, and they think, actually, Billy's Fun Adventures could be the song I need to go underneath my porn film. And the producer of Billy's Fun Adventures has no control over that whatsoever because they don't own the copyright. And the other issue, of course, is that there's no income from stream from this, because if there's no copyright, there's no royalties. And royalties is a big deal, particularly in children's television. So I just want you to imagine, how Disney would react if you turned out a piece of AI music for them where there is no copyright for them to acquire because it doesn't exist, because it's generated. And the liability would just be horrific. So there are some real practical, creative and legal problems to this working in the real world. One more time for Billy's Fun Adventures? No, please no. Okay, so that wasn't great, but you can be absolutely certain that it'll get better and better and better. So there are some real risks and there are some real problems, and we need to face up to those. The biggest fear is that artificial intelligence, Gen AI, will wipe out great tranches of medium music. I think that's very, very unlikely. The bit which is at most risk is right at the bottom end of the industry, where producers and directors would prefer to save the money and potentially the time, rather than employing a composer to produce a much higher quality, more original and distinctive product. Now, that is definitely something which generative AI will be able to do, even if it can't particularly well at the moment. It will be able to do in the future. But that market has already been all but destroyed by the likes of Pond 5. Pond 5 are a huge royalty-free music library with, get this, 1.7 million tracks. And you can license one of those tracks for $5. I mean, what can generative AI do that has not already done? So what essentially will happen is there will be a cannibalistic war between generative AI and the likes of Pond 5 eating each other alive. Meanwhile, for the rest of film, television and games, where producers actually want to communicate with their composers, where they want to give them notes and say, actually, that's not really what I had in mind, or they want something which unites a whole film or a game franchise with a single cohesive, creative idea which is original and not a pastiche of something which has been heard in the past. That is what composers do. It's what we've always done, and it's what we're going to do in the future. So there is a really good chance that actually AI will point out what is special about human composers, what we do which the machines can't. If the limit of your aspiration is producing a pastiche of a very generic piece of music, or going through a very preset kind of approach to how to write music, then the market for that is going to be even more limited than it is at the moment, and it's pretty limited already. So that's where I think we are at the moment. I think there's huge potential for us as composers to rise to the challenge. And because this is the thing, being a media composer means constantly having to reinvent yourself. This is nothing new. This is the way it's been for generations. Every few years something comes along, you have to rethink the way you write the music and the way the business works, the business model. This is part of the joy and frustration of being a media composer, and that's just what we're going to do again. But meanwhile, I did promise you right at the start that I'd have some words of insight from a British king who died 1,000 years ago. This is what I meant. All of which brings me here to Bosham on the south coast of England, because it was here 1,000 years ago that King Canute allegedly set up his throne out there on the foreshore and commanded the waves to stay away, commanded the tide not to rise. Of course it did, he got wet. And this apocryphal story is used as a metaphor for the futility of trying to resist the inevitable. And the rise of generative AI is completely inevitable. But, as I hope I've convinced you in this film, for people like you and me, creative people, we are better equipped than anybody else to adapt to this new world. We are training our students to double down on human empathy, human intuition, communication, and above all, originality. And if you want to adapt to this new world, that's what you have to do as well. See you again soon.